I've lived in Oakwood Estates for about 5 years now. It's a nice neighborhood with well-maintained lawns, community pool access, and neighbors who generally keep to themselves. The only downside? Our Homeowners Association president, Karen Winters. From the moment I moved in, Karen made it her personal mission to ensure I understood exactly who was in charge around here. Every HOA meeting featured her signature look, blonde highlights arranged in that classic speak-to-the-manager haircut, designer clothes that somehow always matched her luxury SUV, and an expression that could curdle milk. "The bylaws exist for a reason," was practically her catchphrase, delivered with a smile that never quite reached her eyes. Most residents learned to keep their heads down and comply with her increasingly nitpicky rules. I tried to do the same, but something about me just seemed to trigger Karen's need for control. It started with small things. A notice about my garbage cans being visible from the street for 45 minutes too long after collection day. A warning about my grass being a quarter-inch taller than regulation height. A strongly worded letter regarding the unauthorized decorative gnome on my front porch that apparently violated the neighborhood aesthetic guidelines. "I'm just trying to maintain our property values," she would say sweetly whenever anyone questioned her actions, her voice dripping with condescension. "Some people simply need more guidance than others to understand community standards." I work from home as a software developer, which meant I was around more than most neighbors. Karen seemed to interpret my constant presence as an opportunity to elevate her monitoring to an art form. I'd catch her slowing down in her white Lexus while passing my house, phone in hand, apparently documenting my supposed violations. Once, I found her using a ruler to measure the distance between my hedges and the sidewalk. "Good morning, Karen," I called out that day, making her jump. "Finding any pressing HOA violations today?" She straightened up, attempting to look dignified while clutching a 12-inch ruler and wearing gardening gloves that probably cost more than my lawnmower. "Just routine inspections," she replied stiffly. "Your bushes are encroaching on common walkways by almost 3 inches. I smiled pleasantly. "I'll trim them this weekend." "See that you do," she said, her lips pursed in disapproval. "The bylaws clearly state." Section 4, Paragraph 7, Landscape Maintenance Guidelines. I finished for her. "I have a copy, thanks." Her eyes narrowed slightly at being interrupted. "Well, at least you're familiar with the rules you keep breaking." The real trouble began last fall when I decided to repaint my house. The existing cream color was fading, and I wanted something equally neutral but fresher. I submitted my paint color choice, Coastal Fog, a light gray, through all the proper HOA channels and received approval from the architectural committee. I hired professionals, scheduled the work for a Tuesday when most neighbors would be at their offices, and even sent courtesy notices to the houses immediately surrounding mine. The painters had just finished the first wall when a white Lexus screeched to a halt in front of my driveway. Karen emerged, her face flushed with what appeared to be righteous indignation. "Stop immediately," she shouted, marching up to the lead painter with her hand raised like a traffic cop. "This color was not approved." The painter looked confused and glanced at me as I walked over from my home office setup on the porch. "Is there a problem, Karen?" I asked calmly. "This," she gestured dramatically at my partly painted wall, "is not the approved color. This is at least 2 shades darker than the Coastal Fog sample submitted to the committee." I pulled out my phone and opened my email. "I have the approval right here, dated 2 weeks ago. And this is exactly the color code that was approved." Karen's eyes flashed dangerously. "As president of the HOA, I have final authority on all exterior modifications. The paint is too dark. It will bring down property values and clash with the neighborhood aesthetic." The lead painter shifted uncomfortably. "Sir, do you want us to stop?" "No," I said firmly. "Please continue. I have written approval, and this is the exact color that was signed off on." Karen pulled out her own phone. "I'm documenting this violation. You'll be receiving a fine of $500, effective immediately. If painting continues, the fine will increase daily." I remained calm, although I could feel my blood pressure rising. "Karen, you know that's not how the process works. The architectural committee already approved this. You can't unilaterally override them." "Watch me," she hissed, her pleasant neighborhood facade momentarily slipping. Then she straightened her designer blouse and regained her composure. "I'll be back with the proper documentation." The painters looked at me questioningly. I assured them it was fine to continue, and they reluctantly went back to work while I returned to my laptop. About 30 minutes later, as I was on a video call with clients, I heard another commotion outside. Excusing myself, I stepped onto the porch to find Karen standing beside my house, now wearing a blazer over her blouse and holding what appeared to be some kind of badge in a leather wallet. "By the authority vested in me by the County of Oakwood," she was saying to the now thoroughly confused painters, "I am issuing a cease and desist order for violation of neighborhood codes." I ended my call and walked over. "Karen, what are you doing?" She turned to me with a look of triumph. "As a registered code enforcement officer, I am officially ordering you to stop this unapproved modification." She flashed the badge again, not quite long enough for me to see it clearly. One of the painters put down his roller. "Look, man, we don't want any trouble with the authorities." "She's not an authority," I said, my patience finally wearing thin. "She's the HOA president, not a government official." Karen's smile turned cold. "Actually, I completed the county's code enforcement certification program last month. I'm fully authorized to issue fines and stop work orders for code violations throughout this district." She handed me an official-looking document with the county letterhead. "This is your first warning. The fine will be $750, payable to the HOA within 14 days. Continued non-compliance will result in additional penalties." I examined the document, which indeed looked surprisingly official, though something felt off about it. "I'll need to verify this," I said. "Verify all you want," Karen replied smugly. "In the meantime, this work stops now, or I'll be forced to call in backup." She patted her phone meaningfully. The painters were looking increasingly uncomfortable. I didn't want to put them in the middle of this, so I reluctantly told them we'd have to pause for the day. I'd pay them for the full day regardless. After they packed up, Karen gave me a victorious smile before driving away in her Lexus, no doubt to report other heinous neighborhood crimes like improper mulch colors or unauthorized bird feeders. Once she was gone, I examined the document more carefully. It had the county seal and official letterhead, but several things didn't add up. For one, the department listed didn't match the actual county code enforcement division. I checked online. The signature was from a Director Williams, but according to the county website, the current director was named Rodriguez. Most damning of all, the citation code referenced in the document didn't exist in the county's ordinance database. I placed a call to the actual county code enforcement office. After being transferred twice, I reached someone who confirmed my suspicions. Karen Winters was not a certified code enforcement officer. In fact, the county didn't even have a certification program for civilians. The document she had given me was completely fraudulent. "Sir, what you're describing sounds like impersonation of a government official," the county employee said seriously. "That's a criminal offense. Would you like me to transfer you to the sheriff's department to file a report?" I thought about it for a moment. Karen had been making everyone's lives miserable for years with her power trips, but this crossed a line into potentially criminal behavior. "Yes," I replied. "I think that would be best." The next day was eventful, to say the least. I provided the sheriff's deputy with the fraudulent document, descriptions of Karen's actions, and contact information for the painters who had witnessed her impersonation. By afternoon, I was watching from my home office window as Karen was escorted from her house to a patrol car, not in handcuffs but clearly in official custody,